Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. Apologies for not posting lately. I started a new job and I've been catching up on a lot of life stuff. So just a bunch of stuff been going on in life that I've just been dealing with. So but we're back here. We're starting off this match in the middle of a match. Looks like initially I started to earn myself a kill ribbon and some damage to go along with it. You could see the team's not really doing much. They're kind of just huddling around. Nobody's really pushing except for, if you want to consider whoever's in the front. They're the closest one to actually trying to conquer the enemies. But you can see most of the enemies, they're all in like 3 different spots, and all our team is just trying to play Overwatch. If you ask me, they probably should be trying to help each other, because when you push the enemies together, just that number of barrels makes such a difference in the outcome. 2 barrels shooting at 1 enemy barrel, you're obviously going to have a better chance.
Cross the bridge and go help.
Right there we had overheard our teammate making a comment about how our teammates should cross that bridge and actually help. Because realistically, that's when the enemies make the most mistakes, is when you're forcing them to make choices that they're not trying to make. Nobody wants to be pressured, right? If you let them play Overwatch, they're happy and content playing Overwatch back and forth with each other. A lot of these people don't actually like that interaction that really makes people have to make decisions that matter. And now, as you can see, after my tank's destroyed, the only enemies left are them 2 tanks that have been in that same C3, C2 area this whole time, and 1 more destroyer left on the corner that I was putting pressure on. We got a couple guys that finally came up the 9 line, and they're gonna work on that destroyer.
Go after him now. Takes him a long time to load.
And then that group up there, they should be able to finish that destroyer in medium, but you really never know, because I tell you what, just because you have more barrels than the enemy in the fight, you may or may not have better fighters than the enemies. Their 2 barrels might actually be better overall in the situation than our 4 teammates trying to beat them. And it's not just about the barrels. You have to be better at positioning, and not just position, but positioning is what's important, because you have to continuously outmaneuver, outshoot, and outmatch your enemies with your teammates' help. That's how you win. Alright, and here we are in the second match for this video. We're in a T-34 right now. Not a tank I normally play, especially on the Cold War mode. It's still a good tank, but there's just so many other tanks that really make that good tank not so good of a tank anymore. As time goes on, they're continuously upgrading new tanks and putting out new tanks that they just want you guys to spend your money on, so they're going to keep making them the best tanks in the game so that you guys keep wanting to spend money on them. So a tank like the T-34 really isn't even that good of a tank. What would have been a B-class tank is probably more like a C- tank. And right there, we try and line up our first shot. We end up landing our first shot, so we continue to play this corner as we reload, looking for another opportunity. And as I see my teammate pushing forward, I'm going to push forward with him. I'm usually pushing forward on my own, but I'm not going to let that guy do what I usually have to do, because it's not an easy thing to do. And as good as I am or not, however, you know, the opinion varies, you know what I mean? But the facts are, I don't even have a good chance at surviving some of the situations I get myself into. But I do have a better chance than most people, I think, because of my performance abilities. Along with my mindset, you know, I'd have to say your attitude really does make a difference. For example, as you can see, it's me supporting 4 mediums, what it looks like on the front line. And there's really not much that the Overwatch is actually helping. They're helping themselves, you know, and by default that helps the other teammates, even if whether they're in front or behind them. But all these tanks in the 2, 3, and even that light tank in the 4 line, they're pretty much ineffective to the actual match. All the enemies, they're really not even worried about them. They're going to focus on these mediums and myself because that's where the actual battle is. They don't even have to worry about them as Overwatch because, one, they're not going to achieve anything from back there because, you know, they're so into Overwatch that they're not even really trying to watch over the actual fight or even be around it. They're just there for free points. You know, you've seen them 2 destroyers move up, which is going to help them 2 mediums that was on my right. And then I saw that they needed help on this left side, on the more north of my tank. So I went up that way to try and make an impact, as well as continue to decrease the impact that the enemies were making. Obviously, I failed at it, as you can see, but here's what I think I could take away from this match. We would have probably wiped the enemy team. The only reason that we're losing right now is because half of our team were not barrels in the fight. They were barrels behind barrels in the fight. Whether they're doing it for free points, whether they're doing it to survive, whether they're doing it because they don't think they're good enough to actually earn their points up in the actual battlefield or where you're supposed. None of them are playing their position. You telling me? You know, it's a sad state for the game, it is, but you can't even really blame the game because the game is what it is. It's the community and player base that's making it what it is, that is, as far as how bad it is. Anybody that plays this game can pretty much admit to themselves that there's no real support. The only time people are going to support you in this game is if they can find a way to pretty much piggyback and get by default points. They're not, you know, they're looking for someone else to do their job or the job that they don't want to do so that they can do the job that they want to do, and likely a job that's not even designed for their tank to do. Now, as you can see, the match is pretty much finished. It managed to make its way to a 4v4. They were up a tank, but because of how they play, they just let one of their teammates be annihilated by the enemies. And it's a positioning thing, you know. You got them 2 destroyers on the shoreline. You got that destroyer up in the D3 area, you know, D4. That destroyer in medium helping cover the south going north. And then them destroyers in the B line on the shoreline, you know, they're just at the north watching the south, you know, so they got them at 2 different angles here. And there's really not much that they're going to be able to do because we have our destroyer hiding in A9 and then the other guy trying to cap the base. Like, it's almost like they're not even trying to win. They're just trying to make it look like they want to win. Because if they wanted to win, they wouldn't do things like that. If they knew how to play, they wouldn't even do things like that. They'd be supporting each other. They wouldn't even need to worry about where the support's coming from because people are actually playing the game and they'll be supported by default. But that match is over. I managed a top 3rd on the team, bottom of the top 3rd. And after that match, here's our 3rd match for this video, our 3rd and final match. I'm in my armadillo, as I usually tend to like driving around when I'm not grinding a tank or doing challenges or whatever. I generally do drive my armadillo around a lot. I always have ever since I bought the thing. You know, I might as well enjoy it. I earned up the 14,000 gold to buy it with, you know, didn't spend any real money on it, but you know, I worked hard earning up the gold, saving it up. So you know, and it's a good tank. They've hindered it a couple times, but it's still a pretty good tank. And here we are getting up to the front line. As you can see, our couch potato team has decided to go down the one line and stay at the base, but ultimately just hiding in the one line. Now they have a little bit of a team there in the city, in that southwest corner. So in theory, they could make an impact that really does make a significant difference, even if they are outnumbered, which it doesn't appear that they are. However, with the hesitance of the teammates on my team, I almost even got there to get more than just parts of that enemy unit, that entire group. You know, here I am rotating on this guy, cleaning up what's left of it, and now the city's gone. They've lost half of their team. We've only lost 4 tanks. So we're up on teammates, and we just have to go help the rest of our team that's probably going to end up losing, because one tank will spot that entire one line that never left the one line, and then the enemy's entire overwatch will be able to just destroy our team like that right there. That was a easy missile. You know what I mean? He can't even see who's shooting at him. He probably didn't even notice where it came from or noticed it flying in, because they're just so focused on the bullshit that they like doing or choose to do. And that's not even how you play the game. I used to get so mad seeing people cheating their teammates for their own points. Like, what kind of jackass wants to be better than his entire team and then not even for once think about being better than the entire enemy podium, right? You get what I'm saying? There's difference in a teammate and someone who's just on the team. We're all trying to achieve things. We're all trying to survive for the most part. You know, ain't nobody going out there to die. As you can see here, I'm rotating this enemy tank and trying to keep my positioning out of the way of that barrel's trajectory while traversing the terrain, using the mounds and all the rock formations and stuff to my advantage as I reload, so that whenever I approach this next group of tanks, I'll have my reload and I'll be able to counter any tank that's trying to counter that tank as he's trying to reposition in whichever way that he is. Looks like I got missiled, which wasn't beneficial, but he would be just about out of bullets at that point, which would allow me to just pretty much dig into him, and I'd only had to worry about this BMP. Now the BMP's focused elsewhere, and though I'm out of bullets, it gives me time to reposition and retreat. I'll actually say retreat, because I'm not really retreating though. In my opinion, I'm just repositioning, because if I was retreating, I wouldn't be trying to get back into that fight that I just left. All I did was reposition. Retreating is when you're trying to get out of the fight. Here we are pulling up to this last guy. Looks like he climbed down off the hill and I didn't get to him, but my team's there. We get the win, and that's another one, you know, good match. Besides teammates' positioning, I'd say it was an overall good match still. Check us out in the next video if you're interested.